Well, this is a 4-day-long official visit. The Prime Minister arrived only in the last hour here at his hotel in Washington. It will officially start as of tomorrow on Wednesday. We understand he will be taking part in some of the events organized by think tanks here. He will be meeting some of the Turkish American Muslim communities in Washington and in New York in the following days as well. And don't forget, he's also here along with Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, as well as the Energy Minister Berat Albayrak, and we understand there will be also some meetings with those delegations as well, discussing some of the economic and trade issues, as well as the energy partnership between the two countries. But as you pointed out earlier, the most important activity, the event rather, will be the meeting with the U.S. Vice President Mike Pence. That meeting was essentially supposed to take place today, but because of that tragedy unfolding in Texas, Pence had to be traveling out there, and only on his return here in Washington on Thursday, the two will be meeting for this very timely and important meeting, I should say.
What's the current political climate, Edis, given the fact that these two NATO allies are far apart on a few different issues, not only the arrest of that U.S. consulate member in Istanbul, but also the extradition of Fethullah Gulen?
Exactly, Kilmini. I mean, here in the lobby of this hotel, I'm surrounded by many prominent figures, from foreign affairs to business leaders to education, culture, in all sorts of levels. People are telling me that the bilateral relations are at the lowest they've ever seen, and that's really because of that diplomatic dispute that started about a month ago when the United States first halted all of its visa services after a locally hired employee in Turkey was arrested by Turkish officials. They said he was suspected of having some links to the organization called FETÖ, that is considered by Turkey as a terrorist organization, for having carried out that failed coup attempt back in 2016. Now, that was obviously a big concern for the United States. They said they haven't received enough information about the reason of his arrest and whatnot. The following weeks, we've seen a U.S. delegation visit Ankara, following which we've seen some kind of a rekindling of the relationship, because just as of this week, we're starting once again, both sides resuming their visa services, partially for now, and so there's still a lot of room for improvement. And from Turkey's perspective, they're also having a big concern, because since that failed coup attempt, they've repeatedly filed for the extradition of Fethullah Gulen, who is the leader of that group and is still a free permanent resident here in the United States, and there's been very little progress on that regard. So essentially, this is an important meeting because when Binali Yildirim meets Mike Pence, a lot of these issues will be handled. And since this is a very strategic partnership, it's an alliance, it's a NATO alliance we're talking about. It's not just economy and trade, but it's also foreign affairs, like the war in Syria and many others that are at stake if this strategic alliance is not restored as soon as possible.
All right, that's our Edis Tianshan there for us in Washington following the Prime Minister's visit to Washington, D.C. We're going to switch over to Richard Weitz. He's the director for the Center for Political Military Analysis, and he joins me now from our studio in Washington. Richard, great to have you with us. Talk to me a little bit about, we saw U.S.-Turkey relations kind of reach a new low with this visa standoff. Where are we at right now?
Well, as you know, the relationship goes in cycles. It was good for most of the Cold War, with some dissent, such as during the Cyprus issue. Then it suffered a major blow with the war in Iraq, then rebounded under early Obama, and then went down over Syria, and went up when Trump was elected, and now it's on the down. So in that context of this pattern, I would say I'm not sure if we're at a new low, but we are in a low for the Trump administration. It's been going down since. The visa issue, although it's gained a lot of news, it's not in itself a driver. I think it's more a reflection of some of the other issues you've mentioned. And I think that the Guan issue is at the moment insolvable just because the Trump administration cannot influence the U.S. courts, given the U.S. political system and given some other issues they're having with the judicial process here. But I think the Syria issue, i.e. the Kurds, the Kurdistan referendum in Iraq, the question of Turkey's approach to some other regional issues, I think those are manageable and will actually improve over time as the Iraq and Syria war ends. So I would say it's a mixed bag, but I do see some opportunities for improvement based on the outcome of the next few days.